Hi, my name's Steve Barrett. I'm the Editor-in-Chief of PRWeek, and I'm delighted to be here at the Nissan Global Media Center in Yokohama in Japan with Roel de Vries, who's CMO of Nissan. Roel, welcome and thanks for inviting us into your fantastic media center.
Yeah, thanks Steve, it's good to have you here.
Yeah, so since we're in here, and you know, content is the new buzzword, isn't it, of marketing and communications. Talk a little bit about how you're using that at Nissan, and especially maybe how you're using this studio and how content plays into your marketing.
Yeah, so I think the whole content development or how to go about content is probably the biggest change at the moment in the world of marketing and communications. And the big difference is, and I think it's mentioned often, the big difference is we need to be far more part of the conversation. We need to be far more in the middle of it and driving it not only be the company that sends messages out, but also the company that engages with consumers. Now you hear that a lot, and it's a common trend everywhere. The question is, how do you do that as a brand? And one of the investments that we made is this media center, but it's not the only thing that we do, but this is a big one, where we say, you know what, we should have inside the company a setup, a studio where we are sitting now, but also we have lots of people working around here that work in the communication space that are actively creating the news inside the company, so that we can be quick, we can be fast, we can be on top of it, and we can broadcast and send it out ourselves.
So give us an example of a couple of things that worked really well, and also how do you measure that? You know, you've got a beautiful facility here. How do you sort of demonstrate the value of that to your C-suite and your managers?
Yes. So it will be used for many aspects. So of course part of it is the corporate side. So when we have corporate messages from our executives that we would like to use to the outside world, this is of course a great venue. So if our CEO or our executives have key messages, we can do that. So there's a corporate element to that. For the consumers, the big benefit sits in when we want to go a little bit more in depth on our cars. So we've got a lot of cars where there's a lot of enthusiasm. Electric vehicles, sports cars, and normally when we do any type of new car. So we do a lot of behind the scenes interviews with engineers, and that way I think we can create content that is very useful for our customers. It tends to be content that is for specific owners that want to go a little bit deeper, that want to have a little bit better understanding.
Real enthusiasts, fans who want to dig deeper.
Yep, or people interested in our business, so it could be many stakeholders. Now obviously for a company to send out internal messages to the big public, this is probably not the best venue for that, although when we do stuff on GTR, for example, we tend to reach quite a big audience.
So we talk a lot about at PRWeek about the new mix of PESO, paid, earned, shared and owned.
Yes.
And I guess this studio would be owned media, but you're trying to get it shared and maybe even get it picked up and earned, and you might even buy some advertising around it to promote it. But tell us how the mix of those four elements is affecting your marketing. And I mean, for example, are you placing less emphasis on paid for good old-fashioned TV advertising or print advertising?
Yeah, well, I wish we could spend less on the paid. That's everybody's dream, not that everything could be earned.
Yeah, and you can put more into PR.
Well, exactly.
It's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. What is the fascinating part of our profession, whether it's in communications or in marketing, is that, and just by calling it one word, I think it's a good example. It's all getting mixed. It's all getting blurred. I think it's very hard to do something with only one of the elements. So you cannot really do only earned activities or only paid activities. Even when people inside the company talk about that we made this fantastic piece of content and 1 million people viewed it, normally we buy search that gets these numbers going. So it is getting very linked. And also if we do big investments in the paid side, so probably one of the biggest one would be Super Bowl in the United States, if we take a North American example. Yes, it's very expensive to buy the spot around or inside the game, but the majority of the ROI or the return of that investment is coming from the whole social discussion around and all the earned around it, and therefore you see that there's very little, I think, as a brand that you can, or in my view, should do that is separating that. and that has major implications for the organization, for agencies, for where we invest our money.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting angle. So as everything becomes more integrated, and you work with Omnicom's group of agencies, it's sort of across the board, but how's that affecting the way you use agencies, the type of agencies you use, and what you want them to do for you?
Yeah, I think, so we already created the concept, we call it Nissan United, where we have a better integration in agencies, and it's working very well for us. I do think, however, that we are at the beginning of a bigger transformation. We created a world out there, and not only Nissan, but of course I can only talk for our company, but we created a world between ourselves and the agency structures where we went down a path of specialization. And digital and social has driven a lot of that. So digital agencies, social agencies, event agencies, of course the traditional advertising agencies, PR agencies, media agencies, and we have media agencies that specialize in digital search. So we created a maze of agencies with specialization for good reasons, because a lot of these things had a lot of technology behind it and a lot of things that are difficult to understand. So the traditional agencies of 10 years ago couldn't just pick it up. So that happened for the right reasons. The customer world, however, went a different way. Your life and my life have actually become much more simple. It's all on my phone. I've got whatever I want, it's right here in my hand when I want it. So the customer actually wanted to all be integrated. And so now I think we're in a phase where the biggest challenge is not anymore to understand all these technologies and all these latest opportunities. The biggest challenge is how to bring it all together. And that means that these agencies, the agency structure needs to go through a continuous integration model. Now the challenge there is that it needs to integrate while keeping the expertise, because it's not going to get any simpler. Technology is still going at the speed of lighting and will just keep on going faster. So we need to keep the specialization in the agency structure, but we need to make sure that it all works together. So we do not believe in one team that does everything. We do not believe anymore in agencies that sit in different parts of the world and have a Monday morning coordination meeting. So we're on a continuous path to figure out how we bring that together.
Okay, so finally, what does that mean for your PR agencies specifically? Could they be the people who bring you the big idea on which you hang a big piece of strategy?
Yeah,
or does it have to be the ad agency?
No, I think that's part of what is changing. I think the big idea, and that's also a very big change. The big ideas and the strategies are going to come from those people that sit in the middle of the conversation, that know what's going on, that know what the sentiment is out there, what's working, what's not working. That's very different to the past, where you could have the creatives sitting in a room brainstorming with 2 or 3 of them, coming up with the big idea. We still need the big idea, and I think the big idea has become even more important than it's ever been, because if you don't have a big idea, you really don't stand out. But the big idea is going to come more from within that group of people that is really part of, in the middle of the conversation, and not anymore from people sitting a little bit on the side thinking about it. And so therefore PR agencies, in my view, whether we should call them PR agencies,
well, yeah,
I don't know.
That's another question, yeah.
But they,
for another interview maybe.
But they at the table, right in the middle of it, because them together with the social guys and actually with everybody are very much on top of what's going on.
It's good to hear. So thanks for inviting us in to your studio, and we look forward to seeing Nissan's next big idea.
It's great, and I appreciate you being here.
Yes,
Thank you.
My pleasure.